Okay, so here's a first look at the FNH FNX 45. This is the stainless model, and in this video what I'm going to try to do is a simple review on it. I want to compare it to my 1911 and my full-size Glock by size, weight, and whatever else comes to mind while I'm shooting this video. Real quick, just show you what the gun comes with. You do get a cartridge that was fired at the factory to test it. You get a small little owner's manual, and I think there's a registration card in here too to register it with FNH. You also get a nice FN colored lock with 2 keys. It's got the dark blue there. You get this extra big case. Comes with 3 magazines. And they're like a dark chrome kind of shiny magazine. It's a 15 round capacity. A lot of firepower for a 45. You also get the back strap that comes in the gun, as well as one additional. This one's a little fatter. You'll find the grip's pretty big on this gun. I guess if you have extremely large hands, you might find that useful. So that's basically what the gun comes with. The 3rd magazine is in the gun here. So let's just check. Make sure, yep, safe. We're gonna move this aside now and take a closer look. So here's the FNX 45. What you'll notice here, similar to the FNP, I think they added front serrations. They did some work in the trigger group and in the slide rails, which we'll see when we break it down. Basically, it's fully ambidextrous, so on both sides of the gun, it has a safety slide release. The takedown lever is not ambidextrous, so you can see it's not on both sides there. And the mag release, which they've now elongated on the FNPs, that mag release is round. And on this gun here, you can see that they've elongated it to add to the ergonomics. It has a pretty aggressive grip, and it is a big gun, being a double stack gun. So it does have a safety similar to the 1911 and a grip style like the 1911. A lot of people say these controls are mixed between a SIG and an H&K. The H&K actually has the decocker in front of the slide release, but other than that, it's pretty similar. So we have a safety that will allow us to fire the gun. Safety off. We can now fire the gun with a short. See, it's a little spongy. So there's the take up, and then we got a little bit of sponge here before it fires. I'm hoping I can get in there and clean that up, but it's a typical trigger for a polymer type pistol. Light trigger pull, maybe 5 pounds, 5.5 pounds. It's pretty light. It also is dual action, so you can fire from with the hammer down. That's good if you are carrying the gun. That's what brings us to our last feature here, which is the decocker. So you can push down, decock the gun. You see the hammer doesn't go all the way down, so you can safely chamber around. Instead of carrying cocked and locked with a round chamber, you have the opportunity to decock it, put the safety on, and then when you go to fire your first round, that would be a long dual action pull, right? Gun cycles, and now your next round after the short reset is single action. So that's the nuts and bolts of the gun. There aren't very many detailed reviews out there. I honestly have not shot this enough to really talk too much about its performance. It does, I shot 50 rounds through it when I first bought it. It does point very well, and the recoil is quite different than what I expected. It's a light recoil, and it's an interesting pushback, different than what I've noticed. One thing they do claim is that the unlocking, so when you fire the gun and the slide starts to come back, it will actually go, it actually goes twice the distance before the barrel begins to unlock. So you can see there's the unlock, and apparently that's twice the distance of most modified Browning, I think is what they call it, style. So that's that. So next what I want to do is just compare to my 1911 also my full-size Glock here. So we'll start with the Glock because they are both polymer guns. If we stack them up here, the sight radius is sight radius is just about the same on both these guns. If I line the rear sight up and the front sight, we can see the rear sight actually comes all the way to the end of the pistol, which on the Glock it does not. So if we actually line the rear sights up, we can see that the sight radius is just about the same. The thickness of the pistol, without measuring, the 45 here is definitely larger. Let's see if I can get in frame here and try and show that, but not by much. We look down the sights. The grip is definitely wider, so it's definitely a wider grip here, bigger grip. We do see, if we line the triggers up, we definitely have a larger trigger guard. That does come in handy on this gun here. When I go to reach for the trigger, I kind of got to cock my finger back and then in, where on this gun here with the extended guard, it goes right in. So that's something I found better. I don't know, I don't have the largest hands, but that's something I seem to like. Both have accessory rails. The Glock is considerably lighter. We'll weigh them in a moment. My next gun here is a Commander size, or Kimber is a Pro size. So this is the 4-inch model, but it is full size in this dimension. So if we compare these two, we can see right off the bat that we have a definite 1 inch there on the sight radius, which lends to the better accuracy I'm having with the FNX at longer distances. We can see the slide is considerably, this would be a much better carry gun compared to this. It's just by the thickness of the slide. We look back at our grips. Now the grips aren't that far off because I have these larger grips on here by VZ Grips, but it's definitely, still a bigger gun in that dimension. Our trigger guard, if we see here, let me just line these up a little better. Trigger guard definitely extends, so a lot more room there if you have gloves or. So that's the differences in the dimensions. Now, let's do real quick. We'll do a weight. So what I'm going to do is put a loaded mag. Now this is 15 rounds. Oh, that doesn't go in there too good. Let's bring the hammer down. 15 rounds of 45 in the FNH. 8 rounds of 45 in the Kimber. And I wish I had a 45 Glock, but I don't. This is 10 rounds of 9mm. Alright, and what I have here to try, I don't know if you're going to see the screen, but I'll yell out the numbers. This is a fish scale. Probably not the most accurate, but it will give us an idea nonetheless. So, now it was working. There we go. So we'll start with the FNX. I think you'll be surprised. We're at 2 pounds. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that in there. 2 pounds 11, 2 pounds 12. When I steadier, 2 pounds 12 ounces. So that's 15 rounds of 45 in there, 2 pounds 12 ounces. Now if we go to our Kimber, Pro Series 1911, I'll try and wave that in there. Same exact weight. So for anyone who thought that this was going to be a big heavy gun, it is a big gun, but I got 7 more rounds of 45 in there, and it weighs the same as a all stainless steel 1911. Just for shits and giggles, we'll weigh the Glock. The Glock's probably half the weight of that. These two, especially with only 10 rounds of. No, this is just annoying. So we'll weigh that, and we're at 1 pound 13, 12. So it's almost a full pound lighter. Something we had expected. So next what we'll do is just show you how these guns break down, the difference in field stripping. We'll start here with the new gun, and we'll work our way down the line. So field stripping the FNX, pretty simple. Lock the slide back, make sure she's empty, put our takedown lever, release the slide, and our gun's apart. Right, easy as that. On our Glock, some people don't like this. Make sure the gun's empty, point in a safe direction, pull the trigger, and there's our Glock. Okay. Now the 1911. Everyone knows that's more work to field strip. Most 1911s have a bushing in the barrel that you take off. This is bushingless because it has a bull barrel. So we actually need a tool here for this one. Same thing here. We make sure it's empty. Lock the slide back. This probably takes about 3 times the amount of time that it takes to take down. Remove our slide release. And now we can take down. So now that we have them apart, let's just compare the differences here between them. Here's our barrel on our 1911. Here is our full-size Glock. And here is our FNH, right? So we see is a similar design, almost identical design because they are modified Browning in the way the block's designed on the barrel. They both have pretty nice feed ramps. The Glock's polished a little better because I've cleaned it so many times. Barrel length is identical, right? The Commander 1911, which weighs the same as this, is a shorter barrel. And feed ramps on the 1911s are actually in the gun. So that is our barrel comparison. Let's look at our slides. This is the Kimber. They both weigh about the same. Now you might be able to see an easier difference in the size of the slide. You can see that the Glock here is a little bit bigger than the So we got a comparison here. This is the Kimber, the Glock, and the FNX. You can see the dimension sizes, as they get larger here. You can also see the length. The slide length is the same on the Glock and the FNX. So the full-size Glock and the FNX are very similar in that respect. Where they differ is the FNX is just a little bigger, and we are experiencing pretty much the same sight radius. If I line up the two sights here, try and get that. The sight radius is pretty much identical, and that's that. Pro size Kimber, obviously a smaller gun, shorter slide. So let's quickly throw these back together. Simple enough on the FNX. It's got a UP for up in there, so you really can't mess that up. Slide your recoil spring back in, just like the Glock. It's ready to go. Put your slide on. And what you want to do is lock to the rear position, run your up, and now you're back in business. Our Glock is identical, at least in that sense. Both polymer frame guns, very top heavy, but they don't feel top heavy. Once you put them back together, it's amazing how that works out. Our 1911 requires a little bit more work. Get our barrel barrel in the lock back position. Put our guide rod back in. I usually run it all the way forward. Let's just move this. There's a million videos on this, so I need to explain it. I'll put it back together. Okay. So all our guns are back together. All right. Back to the FNX because that's why you're here. So I hope you got some sort of information out of that you were looking for. You know, the reviews on that out there say, you know, it is a very large gun. They tell you what, it is big, and it looked big and it felt big until I shot it, and it felt much nicer once I put a few rounds through it. And that's because the fact that the recoil was very nice on it for being such, you know, for being a polymer gun. It's heavy, you know, with 15 rounds in it. It does have some heft to it. You know, I was impressed when I shot it. I almost second guessed myself for buying it until I pulled the trigger. But I'm glad I bought it. So that's pretty much all I have to say on this gun. If you have any specific questions about it, please let me know. It does have a loaded chamber indicator. I'm not going to show you that here on video, but if we were to chamber around, similar to the Glock, the extractor sticks out a little bit and the top of it is supposed to be painted red. I haven't even taken notice of that just yet, but that's what's supposed to happen. So yeah, any questions regarding this gun? Or any of the guns you saw here, you know, leave a comment and I see if I can address them. But if you're looking for a full-size 45 and you want to carry the most rounds you possibly can, I think this is the only gun right now that offers technically 16 round capacity. If you know, with 15 in the mag and 1 in the chamber, that's a lot of firepower to have. It also has an accessory rail for that option there. Now, in New Jersey, we can't carry guns, so I don't even consider usually that when I'm purchasing a gun. I would probably more opt to want to be carrying the Kimber, as it's just a little more low profile and it doesn't weigh anymore. But it would this would be the gun I'd probably choose, or something more compact. Since in New Jersey it's nearly impossible to carry, you know, I don't worry about that now. It is a new gun. It came out just in December. This gun was test fired in March 3rd, so it's only, you know, a month old as it is, or 2 months. And that being said, there's not many accessories out there, so right now it's very hard to find mags, which is probably good that it came with 3. And I heard it's difficult to find holsters, although I believe the XDM, the 45XD holsters will work for it with a slight modification. But yeah, that's as it stands. It's a new gun, so it's, you know, there's not many reviews. There's not much information out on there. I've seen the torture tests of the predecessors, the FNX 40 and the 9. That was enough for me to be confident, and only time will tell. I'll try and get an update out there after I've successfully put some rounds through it. I did put a box of MagTech through it. The first box that I fired through it without cleaning it. 50 rounds, not one issue. And currently running PDX Defenders as a defensive round, and I have a lot of American Eagle that I will put through it and see how it handles it. So thanks for watching.